Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. Hey there and welcome. If you love stories that leave your heart racing and your mind spinning, you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe and become part of our storytelling family. Now let's dive in. I never imagined I'd be the type of woman who would ever cross that line. I always believed loyalty was one of my strongest traits, that I'd stand by my partner through anything. But when it happened, it didn't unfold like some dramatic movie scene. There were no explosions, no screaming, no sudden collapse of everything. It started with a quiet moment, a single lapse in judgment, and then everything unraveled faster than I could stop it. It began during a phase when I felt invisible in my own relationship. Jake and I had been together almost 6 years. We lived together, had a comfortable routine, and from the outside we looked like that couple people envied, planned dinners, weekend adventures, photos full of smiles. But inside our walls I felt abandoned. He was present in body but not in heart. His long shifts, distracted replies, and growing emotional distance made me feel like I was becoming a stranger in my own home. One Friday, overwhelmed by loneliness and craving the attention I wasn't receiving, I agreed to go out with some friends. We ended up in a moody bar downtown, the kind with hazy lighting and pounding music that makes you forget reality. That's where I met Mark. He had an easy charm, a warm smile, and a way of looking at me that made me feel seen, something I hadn't felt from Jake in months. Our conversation flowed effortlessly. At first it felt harmless, just drinks and laughter. But eventually the night took a direction I never intended it to. When he kissed me, my body reacted before my mind did. I didn't pull away. And moments later, I found myself in a taxi headed to his place, knowingly stepping into a mistake that would haunt me. The morning after, guilt hit me with a force I wasn't prepared for. When I returned home, Jake was asleep on the couch, unaware of what I had done. I wanted to confess right then, rip off the bandage and deal with the fallout, but fear pinned me down, fear of losing him, fear of destroying the life we had carefully built. So I stayed quiet. And that silence became a prison. Every time I looked at Jake, the weight of my lie crushed me. I felt like an imposter, pretending to be a loving girlfriend while hiding something unforgivable. I withdrew from him, made weak excuses, and pushed him away. The space between us widened until it felt like an unbridgeable canyon. Then, exactly a week later, Jake walked in with a bouquet of my favorite lilies, wrapped beautifully, tenderly, as if he had spent far too long choosing them. Attached was a small note. For us. I stared at those flowers with a mix of confusion, heartbreak, and shame. Why would he bring me something so thoughtful when I had betrayed him? I placed them in a vase and waited for him to speak. He didn't. Instead, he simply looked at me, eyes filled with a sorrow I couldn't understand, gave me the faintest wounded smile and walked out the door. No argument. No accusations. No goodbye. Just silence. I tried calling him. Texting. Anything. But he wouldn't answer. Days passed in suffocating quiet, and the guilt tore me apart. I wished more than anything that I could rewind time. Then one afternoon while cleaning, I found an envelope tucked beneath the couch. My heart nearly stopped when I recognized Jake's handwriting. Inside was a letter and a small box. His letter began. Sarah, I'm not angry. I'm hurting but not angry. I know you slipped, and I wish I could have eased the loneliness that pushed you there. But the truth is I've been keeping a secret too. Not about Mark. About something much older, something I've carried alone for years. I didn't tell you because I wanted to protect you, to protect us. But hiding it has taken everything out of me. Inside this box is something you never asked for but you deserve to know. I hope one day you can forgive me the same way I'm trying to forgive you. I'm leaving to find peace, not to punish you. Take care of yourself. Jake. My hands shook as I opened the box. Inside was a USB drive. I plugged it into my laptop, and everything I thought I knew flipped upside down. There were medical reports, videos, photographs, all documenting the illness Jake had been fighting silently for years. He hid it from me so I wouldn't worry, so we could keep living normally. But the truth was, he was exhausted, physically, emotionally, trying to carry pain I never saw. Suddenly his long hours made sense. His drained face. His distance. His quiet sadness. I broke down, realizing how blind I had been, so focused on my own loneliness that I missed the storm he had been battling alone. He didn't yell at me or punish me. He simply gave me flowers, whispered a silent goodbye, and left to face something bigger than both of us. I tried reaching out again, desperate to talk to him, to apologize, to hold him. But there was no response. A few days later, I learned he had moved to another city for treatment. Just like that, he was gone. And I never saw him again. Months passed, and all that remained were pieces of what we once had and the brutal truth of what my decisions had cost us. I learned something painful. Infidelity isn't always about desire. Sometimes it comes from emptiness, from wounds no one talks about, from loneliness that swallows you whole. Now, whenever I see lilies, I think of Jake. His quiet resilience, his hidden suffering, and the bouquet he gave me before disappearing from my life forever. I cheated, and he walked away, not out of hatred but because he needed space to heal and I was too broken to realize it. If I could speak to him now, I would thank him for loving me the way he knew how, for the truth he carried alone, and for leaving gently when I didn't know how to save either of us.